hate myself for it, but I'm still haunted by the Rogue Chaos game on Consulate. And I can't get it out of my head.
I mean, look, the way I was talking to Fresh about this earlier, the analyst for Chaos, and I said to him, truthfully, mate, I don't count any of your games against other teams as a good benchmark of how they perform, because you just have no idea what Chaos team you're going to wake up to that day.
Yeah.
Some days they like beat the best, some days they lose to the worst, other days it's flipped around. It can be so confusing. So I'll take it with a pinch of salt. We'll see how this one plays out. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. BDS had an absolute field day against the side of Chaos. When it came to playing against Tempera, things were a little bit different. And the real beauty, I think, in this game right now is we've already seen BDS playing this today as well. Not too long ago, in fact, we saw them making a lot of use of the Amaru to mixed success. So it's all going to come down to me, how Rogue deal with the attacking side coming out of BDS. Can they shut them down early and be aggressive? Or are we going to see BDS being given the opportunity to get to every single window that exists, as Shaiko tried to do on Clubhouse?
Yeah, I think, you know, again, it comes down to a lot of the taking the opportunities for aggression. I think, obviously, Shaiko is someone who's going to really need to be watched out for, how he approaches his entry.
Man, we haven't said that for a few weeks.
I know.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was really happy to see him step up the way that he did last time, but we've got to see it happen again. Because let's not forget, right? This is do or die for Rogue as well. They lose here, they are done. It is over, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
It is crazy, but no, you are right. It was very refreshing to see Shaiko play really well, and also because he's so much fun to watch. But this is the thing, so are Rogue when they're at their top, and this is why we need them to be speeding it up. As you say, the stakes are at an all-time high right now. Rogue, this team, who so many thought would be guaranteed the grand finals here, they thought finally we would see them overcome their LAN issues, as I say in inverted commas, because we're obviously not on LAN. This would be the major where we actually see Rogue really, really do well and shine. And right now, they are at the precipice of losing it all and being the first team to find themselves out of the competition. That is ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. So everything is going to come down here to Consulate, and we need to be seeing that coordination, the consistency from Rogue. We saw Rips, we saw Karjeka have fantastic moments on Clubhouse. We need more of that, please. More of that.
Alma Jordica's my predictions then are therefore clearly no longer cursed. BDS power, sit down, Rogue. It's being broken slowly. Look, me and Ace, we just knew, right? We just had it in our veins. We knew what was coming. I say that, there's still a map to go. And the fact I've now said that probably means the whole thing gets cursed, so well done to me. Let's see how the first couple of rounds play out. To kick things off, bit of an interesting lineup coming out of the side of BDS. That Amaru that we mentioned earlier on, drawing some inspiration from Tempera, their French brethren. They used it an awful lot in the regular season. Frenchero tried to make a couple of interesting plays earlier, coming from Garage up through the lobby hatch, or coming up through Piano after the team spent about, 2 minutes getting set up inside of Piano. They used that to sip inside of the site and get the plant down, and they did it in flawless execution. Quite literally, G2 did not get a single kill against any member from the side of BDS. So Rogue, I hope to God you're watching that series, because there's a lesson to learn here if that's where the focus comes in from BDS.
Also unbelievably unsurprising that LMs has decided to bring IQ. Oh, potential run out here. LMs has decided to bring the IQ because obviously Valkyrie made it through the ban phase. Not something that's all that common here on Consulate. She's almost always a must ban, so they know that those cams are going to be in play. They know that there is the risk for runouts, and that's also why you bring the Nomad as well. You want to prevent any of those wide flanks, any of those rotations from being made. So BDS have really set themselves up to deal with a lot of that potential. What I also find interesting is kind of slight switches on roles. Previously, when we've seen this yellow stairs hold be made by Rogue, it's been Leon who we've seen on the dock, whereas Aces has been taking on, actually Corey, in fact, has been taking on the Jaeger, not Aces. In goes the C4, out goes the C4, but doesn't actually find anyone as it gets stuck in the window frame.
Into the window frame it goes, I guess you could say, but no one lurking close enough. It is fine, because if it lands there and someone is just next to it, they are still going to die to the explosion, but a little bit optimistic, I think there was probably the worry. Looking at how things are set up, it's all down to Leon here and what damage he can cause if he pushes down yellow. You can see a couple of members are basing themselves around Piano, looking maybe for that play with the Amaru once more. Frenchero, I think, is just going to zip his way straight up into the windows leading in, or the double window leading in towards console, rather than through the hatch. Here we go. This could be it. Execution time. We're at that 50-second mark. It's always around here where they try and make stuff happen. And clearing out yellow stairs, that's the play they needed, because now they can get in and make a plant without being challenged. Here we go.
That's what I wanted to say, as Red Shiro zooms straight in, and he is going to be getting the plant down. Shaiko adding a kill onto that as well. Corey taken down. A couple of kills coming out from Rogue, though, and if they could start to even this out, this could work in their favor, but BDS says no, as he leaves just Rips and Karjeka remaining on the side of Rogue. Fighting through the smokes that have been brought out by Rips, and Karjeka is going to be able to get that kill onto Shaiko, but they still have to bear in mind the fact that the diffuser is live. With Karjeka gone, it's all on Rips. We've seen him nearly clutch out before, but there's two players out here on the rappel. The crossfire is ready. There's no way he can do it, and he doesn't. Bride ensures that is the case, and BDS take the first round.
Patience coming out of BDS. I love seeing it, because you think about them, you think, oh, Shaiko runs through a bunch of people and kills them. They like to play fast, they play aggressive. That's how they do things. This strategy that we've now seen a few times today shows a very different side to BDS. One that's of patience, one that is of timing, one that is about playing as a unit and playing as a team to get that plant down. And like I say, it's great to see a change coming out in their play style. The trigger there was Leon going down on yellow. Once he's removed, no one can spray you from yellow stairs to stop you going in. And I think you're going to have to see teams starting to come up with new ideas here. If they're going to get into a spot where they can contest someone trying to get in through the window like the Amaru does, much faster, of course, than trying to repel in. Now that that change came through a couple of patches ago, you need to have some more ways than just one player on yellow looking to contest that. Otherwise, it's far too easy for the Skylight player to deal with them and make that plant far too easy. So a little bit of adaptation needed from Rogue. I'm looking forward to round 4 when we might see them go back to that site. And that way, we'll see if they actually get to do something a bit different. I say that, they're doing it now, apparently. I thought they might go for a full rotation. They're one of those teams that will try again if they fail.
I was going to say, might decide to go back to their site. Mate, they're already here. Now, obviously, the Amaru was picked on the 6th pick, but you would assume that Rogue know that that's exactly going to be there once again.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the whole thing with the Amaru is the element of surprise, or at least the element of immediacy. The way she just jumps in through the window like a graceful frog. I'm very...
Whoa. A graceful frog.
It's the first thing I thought of that jumps.
Please explain to me why your brain thought graceful frog was two words you can link together.
Look, I was going for graceful regardless. I had to come up with an animal, and frog was the first one. It was first in the line. We just got to go with it. Rogue have just got to go with whatever it is BDS bring at them, but this time you'd hope they're going to be better prepared for it, because obviously last time it was a bit too much.
They're putting a big focus onto yellow stairs as well. They're almost saying, look, we know that Leon's playing here. We want to get him removed before we look for another execute, the same as last round. I guess the challenge then somewhat comes in if we can see Rogue looking to play defensively in Piano, trying to play for C4s. That could be the go-to play. The biggest worry being that BDS have already in the last round shown that there is definitely a focus inside of Piano for them, because they got in there first, cleared that out, set down a couple of drones to make sure it was safe, then got outside the building and went for the plant. So it's all going to be about the adaptation piece of Rogue here and what they changed. Like I said, at the end of the last round, things need to change. They can't do the same thing again.
I like this opening up of the floor there. That applies so much pressure onto those above. And you were saying exactly that. You've got to clear out the yellow stairs area in order to do anything. Karjeka is looking for a run out here, but he's not able to find anyone just yet. And obviously he doesn't want to be detected. So just darting in and out. Now, there was sort of a run out attempted last time. If I remember correctly, nothing actually came of it. They just detected an enemy outside. But you would suppose at some point, especially given the information that's available, the Rogue are going to be able to make a successful one eventually. That won't be it, though.
Trying to make something happen, and I admire that it's Karjeka looking to do it rather than someone like Leon, who seems to be the player out of every single window. It's like it's passing the spirit on and saying, guys, I can't do it this round because I'm holding yellow. Please, someone carry on my legacy and get out a door or a window somewhere. No kills being found. Karjeka back towards site. They know what's coming. They know they're setting up for a similar sort of setup once more. The only difference it seems to be this time round is Renshiro is inside, Piano looking to go through the hatch rather than through the window. Oh, that's too easy.
Oh, I was going to say that was very close, but actually he was able to dink him on the head, but he gets dinked back by Renshiro as he's straight into the site. Alem's joining on as well, and this could once again be a repeat of what we saw before, where BDS are just able to take control of CEO and move on in. Now, is that C4 that's been centrally placed, I guess, but Ace is so close to it, he won't be able to do anything with it, but he gets gunned down immediately. Renshiro begins the plant. It's a little bit later than it was last time, but it's better late than never, especially when there's only one player on the defense you're going up against. Karjeka is brutally low on HP and probably running on very low information as he starts to gun through the ceiling.
Comes down again to the fact that they couldn't deal, or Leon couldn't deal with the aggression that came in towards Yellow, even when he was being juiced up by Corey, and Corey wasn't too far away to support him. BDS just know where to put their attention. And it's just uncomfortable when you have 1 or 2 players holding a location where there are 5 aggressors starting to push in towards you. Doesn't seem to matter whatever Rogue try and do, BDS just have an answer, and I expect here we'll move away from that site. Trying it for a 3rd time will make things incredibly difficult, given how well BDS has shown both variations. The one where the Amaru goes through the window, or the one where she goes through the hatch, both have proven to be absolutely no problem. We now go into lobby and press. First port of call for me, make sure you get that hatch in the middle circle reinforced inside a lobby. Otherwise, you're going to find Renshiro playing below and looking to cause some trouble. Earlier on, he found a double kill when he came up top. Say all that, switches away from the Amaru, not going to be a problem this round.
Lobby and Press, which actually has a higher defensive win rate in EU currently, is sat at 57%, whereas CEO Meeting is the lowest at 46. That's actually drawn with Garage and Cafeteria. And this is why it's a very big conversation, especially you hear them talk about it in NA a lot, about the fact that CEO Meeting has really dipped out of a lot of teams' favor. For many teams, it has been the primary bomb site for a long time. And many teams are now choosing to go to somewhere like Lobby Press instead at the start. Obviously, Rogue decided that they would commit to CEO for 2 rounds in a row. Evidently, that didn't work out for them. And it does make it concerning because if they do have to return there at some point in this half, what have they given themselves to believe that they'll be able to make that any different to how it went last time? So I think it's a good thing that they're coming here to Lobby and Press. They should have, statistically, a better chance at the defense, but I think they really need to be taking advantage of things like the Valkyrie more than they have done thus far, because if you have her available, you got to be playing more aggressive on those runouts and things like that, because it's a big point of having her, and you might as well take the opportunity.
I guess the big fear you've got is the fact that Rafale's playing on this Nomad, though, and the damage he can do, of course, if you try to go jumping out of a window. We mentioned it in the earlier matchup for BDS on this map when it came against G2, saying, okay, double jump outs are coming out of Meeting. One gets hit by the edge up, the second can try and go for a kill. It's the fact that you have to commit so much, and if it goes wrong, well, you're basically done and dusted. And Shaiko straight up these stairs with no problems asked. Aces gets dusted out, and that's Meeting cleared. This vertical hold that's coming out of Rogue absolutely makes sense, but they've just lost a massive portion of the map.
Yeah, he just had no idea that he was there. You would assume one of the defenders would have been looking at a camera or something that would allow them to understand if anybody was coming in through admin, but of course it was so early, as you mentioned, that they maybe just necessarily weren't expecting it. Really big loss there for Rogue, especially when you have the utility like the C4, which I assume is what he had on him, that's now been lost, and the option for that to be involved in some kind of denial as well. But Rogue still have a number of players who need to be cleared out of the top floor. BDS could, of course, go in for a rush, I suppose, and not worry about it, but I don't think that's going to be the way it goes. As a trade backwards and forwards comes out, and Rips and Renshiro find themselves down, and also finding themselves down is the player who was carrying the diffuser. It's going to be Bride removed, and suddenly only 2 players remaining here for BDS.
Gotta worry about Shaiko. Always gotta worry about Shaiko and what he can do. Leon had a bit of free agency on the top floor, but now that they know he's sat watching this diffuser, this is their chance to go a bit more aggressive. They have got time here and not even bothering with drones. Oh my word! Someone stop him. And Leon, man, dude, you've had a great day, but Shaiko in this series is on fire. He is looking electric. Massive shot coming out. And yes, it's only the 3rd round. These are the kind of rounds that you look back on when you sat at 6-5 and just thinking, man, how different this game could have been. Going for a plan inside of the bar. I think one upstairs, maybe Karjeka lurking, knows roughly what's going on, but can't get the right angle. That's plant going down. You're probably going to find them hightailing it out of the site, out of the building, and it's going to come down to a run out or something crazy to try and make this work for Karjeka.
And he doesn't even have a C4 on him, as he's decided to bring a shield for this round. So so it's not like he can throw that out of a window and at least hope to find a kill that way. So really, it is just going to be him in a 1 versus 2, and he's going to have to use the MPX to do it. He doesn't know where these players are. He's got to check every single angle, just pre-firing in the hopes he'll catch someone just outside the main door. He knows there's a player. It's Shaiko, and Shaiko, we've seen what he can do. Man, that kill onto Leon was disgusting.
Yeah, it's like the little pixel angle as well of his head that he caught out was the worst part.
I didn't see him. I knew he was there, but I would not have seen him.
Yo, he's got a massive orange outline on him.
No, yes, I saw that.
I'm picking at your word choice. I said, even I didn't see him, and I was like, well, you did, just you wouldn't have seen him in game, which I don't think anyone would have. But that's what makes him so good, is he can hit shots like those.
Crazy.
Big round for Shaiko, another one to BDS, storming their way through the attack, and I do start to wonder, now that we've been across those three, where does a win come from for Rogue? Evidently, they think the basement is going to be the answer to all of their woes. This is where they might be able to find a win. If they do not, they have lost top floor twice, they've lost lobby pretty convincingly, and then they'll have lost basement. This could end up being a 6-0 half for BDS, which would be phenomenal.
The problem that you have to consider is it's not just about Rogue trying to figure out where they can win from a strategic perspective, but also from a mental perspective. As you say, they are on the cusp of potentially losing everything. Coming in being so strong, being so revered, so much veneration surrounding them, and now suddenly you could be the first team to be leaving the major representing your region, when such a big part of it for you is proving that you aren't going to be hindered by these major events and you can push through further than people have come to expect you to do. That's weighing on their minds, and suddenly the first 3 rounds of this map have not gone their way. It is a daunting prospect, and that is another fight the Rogue are going to be having with themselves, let alone the one that they're having against BDS right now.
Absolutely right, and I think you speak to any team that has been in a big game, a best of 3, even a best of 5 in a grand final, they will tell you how important momentum is. Heck, look at NIP from back at SI 2020. It hit that midway point of the series. They were 2-0 up on Clubhouse, doing well. You can almost see the exact round that the switch changed and everything started going against them. They even said after the series, we were our own worst enemy. We lost to ourselves today. And no doubt Rogue, I know that they're an emotional team. I know that Leon has been dying for years to get his chance to succeed at the top level after Secret fell from Grace, and this felt like that chance. And I do worry that there is an element of doubt creeping in here. Hasn't played too well so far today. This game he is being completely outshone by Shaiko. Admittedly, it's a thing that many of us suffer with, Leon, so I wouldn't beat yourself up about it too much if you are worried about that.
We are all outshone by Shaiko.
We are all outshone by Shaiko. Admittedly, not for most of the season, but today in this game, absolutely. Either way, I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. Just play your game, boys. You've been working on this, and there is a reason why you finished first in the UL.
Karchak is just moving back because he wasn't quite able to see anyone, and he's going to narrowly avoid the nade. He does take a little bit of damage, but does get away into safety, so at least all the members of Rogue are still standing as BDS continue to work on opening the garage wall. Or door, I suppose.
Only 90 seconds in, and no one's died. It's a good start. Shaiko has been tamed. Hired a lion tamer, and he's had to settle down for at least 90 seconds, but soon enough, the beast will be unleashed once more. A big focus coming out towards the west. Garage, always the way. It's something else we've called these boys out for a couple of times today. Why are you focusing and struggling so hard on a Maverick when something like a Thermite will do just as fine? Corey manages to nip one in the bud and collect a lem. It's not really critical right now, but it's still going to be painful. Finally, after 2 minutes, they've got their way into Garage. Now it's a case of dealing with these gadgets.
Going to start clearing them out, and this is where that Maverick could be especially useful, as he has already used one of his nades, but he still has one standing. You could use that to clear out some of that utility, or maybe clear out one of the players if you get so lucky. Now they have everything completely open. This is where Rogue have got to be far more concerned about what it is that's pointing in on them. There was that other nade. It failed to secure the kill onto Rips, who's behind White Fan. But Shaiko doesn't fail to secure a kill onto Leon.
Oh no, Leon again.
Yeah, the first casualty there for Rogue. The second is going to be Rips as Shaiko just moves on forward.
Shouldn't be allowed to walk up as freely like this as he is right now. Corey finds 2 from above. That's a pretty big reverse. Uno reverse card has been played, but that's not going to stop the plant going down. Breeday on the spot. And Shaiko, no doubt, thinking, where are they? Who can I hunt down here? Ace is springing back in towards the site. They didn't commit the plant. What happened? They came off it and haven't bothered with it. Now they've got to try and do a switch in towards cafeteria.
Oh.
One's watching up close. No way. Shaiko's so big to win that. Corey on a triple kill. So is Shaiko. All comes down to this. It's a quadra kill. Ace or bust. You've got to get the defuse out of this one as well. BDS, the player we spoke about so much at the start of the season. Quite lately, it all comes down to this. It ain't Rips. No, it's not. No clutch opportunity. It's BDS to win it out. And BDS take the 4th round. But my God, was that not close?
Oh, that was still a monstrous round there for Corey. The fact he was able to secure all that for himself. And were it not for BDS to be hiding prone behind the table, maybe he would have been able to pull that one out. But yeah, I mean, you said it there. Shaiko really shouldn't have had the opportunity to move up so aggressively and so far forward. As Aces came scrambling down the spiral stairs, it looked like he didn't necessarily know where he was going. There wasn't I don't want to say full understanding, but there was still that feeling of panic. Of course there was. And then he moved up so close that he could have got that kill into kitchen, wasn't able to secure it. And once again, it's just a blow, not only on the score line for Rogue, but also on the egos, on their just everything, their hearts, their minds, everything that is in this game for them. I mean, one of the things that Ace and I brought up in the first game of the day when we were on the desk was that looking back at the Raleigh Major, which was a year ago, Giants, who is now Rogue, went out in the quarterfinals. They were out in the first round. Since then, as far as I'm aware, Rogue have always been a group stage kind of team. And now it looks like it could be a first round again.
It's so painful how it just keeps on happening. They look so promising, that they look like one of the best teams going at the time, and then it comes to an event like this and they fall apart. And a lot of that comes down to the inconsistency in play style I've referred to a few times today, where it is coming down to the mid-round fragging capabilities of players like Leon and Aces, who, by the way, still not having a good game, only 1 kill across 4 rounds. They need him to wake up like super soon, else this is over and done. But again with them, I think because it comes down to the mid-round frags, their entry stats aren't particularly amazing this season. Teams, when it comes around to playing maps rather than just an individual best of one that they can prep the hell for, when it comes to longer series is where you're really going to see them start to struggle. And that is how it's looking today, and maybe is a really good suggestion for why best of 3s can be so rough.
A slight change has been made here by Rogue. Is Ace going to be able to get that shot? Yes. See, I said I wanted a successful run out, and I knew I would get one eventually. Nice one there, Aces. But what I was going to say is Leon Gids has taken on the Maestro. Karjeka now is on the dock instead. So they've switched things around somewhat, whereas Leon was previously playing on the dock. Actually, Leon was on Jaeger, and it was Corey on the dock. So quite a bit. That was very close. Narrowly missing there, and Shaiko's actually taken a decent amount of damage as a result.
Sharpen up those reaction times, my boy. Maybe you'll hit the head next time. Don't worry, I couldn't do it either. If we managed to connect that shot, I think, onto the aggressor of Shaiko, that would have been huge given how well he's been playing so far, and it removes the pressure that's on yellow stairs. You can see Corey lurking around below, just trying to do something. But on the side of BDS, at the very least, there's this big focus leaning out towards the west. The one thing I'm somewhat concerned about is that Renshiro is dead, the Amaru is gone. There's a big reliance on that on this site to go for a plant with. Yes. Not going to have that choice. Corey springs out, finds one, almost gets the second. But Rafal, who himself has had a pretty quiet first map, I believe he had 1 kill at the very end of it, finds a pretty crucial kill to keep BDS in this round.
I don't know if Corey was expecting Rafal to be there, because he knew that Alems was on the drone as soon as he threw it into yellow stairs and sent it upwards. He knew he could take the shot, he knew he could take the kill and the opportunity, but I don't think he was expecting the Nomad to be right there as well. And obviously you could see just how he went for the kill. He wasn't overly prepared for it, and so the trade did come out. Maybe the lack of the IQ will help them out, but the Aces C4 is definitely going to help them out, especially when it brings down someone like Shaiko.
Looking now in a spot where it's a 2 versus 3. It's BDS and Rafal with a lot to do, but going for a plant literally the other side of this wall. This is all too easy. The upside down, Rapal is waiting though. Triggers almost a second thing as someone's in the main hall, but he is wrong. Both finished off, it feels like. There we go. In a flash, it's over. Rogue win the round. They get themselves the first one on the board. It took a while, but finally it gives them a little bit of breathing room and a little bit of confidence that just maybe Geo will see map number 3.
I think what I'm really happy about that round is we had so many concerns after the first 2 rounds that maybe Rogue would struggle consistently on this site. But they changed things up. They switched who was on which operator. They switched out the positioning. They didn't have this top yellow hole as we see more traditionally amongst a lot of teams that Rogue have really favored throughout the EU League. We saw things kind of change a bit. Corey obviously downstairs. Yeah, his run out ended in a trade, but the point still stands is they tried something different and something different worked. It's still a steep hill to climb. They still have a way to go if they want to be pulling Consulate in their favor. They don't have a choice if they want to stay in this competition, but at the very least, they have that glimpse of hope that they can hold on to push themselves forward.
Hope is probably the best thing they can ride on right now, but also a bit of self-confidence should be built into it as well. Downstairs we go. We saw this a couple of rounds ago, where Rogue are clearly choosing to put their final defense and hoping things can work out. Last time it was a bit of a kill fest, dare we say. Corey with a 4K, Shaiko finding 3K, and then BDS in the final 1 versus 1 to win the round out for them. I'm not 100% sure Lightning can strike twice. I love Corey, but relying on someone to do that again doesn't really tend to happen. So we'll see what the difference is going to be this time round, who the difference maker steps up to be for the side of Rogue. And hopefully this time round, it's enough, because it is the most tilting thing in the world to get 4 kills and still lose a round.
Well, it is once again an example of some changes up with the operators here, because if I remember correctly, it was Kajeko who was on Maestro again. So it looks like Leon's really taken to that role. That was kind of an unfortunate landing there for the Black Eye, because it just landed straight in the middle of the wide open plane. But yeah, so you know, things like how Kajeka was positioned really far forward last time. Was it Kajeka? Was he on the Maestro before on this site?
I can't remember truthfully.
Well,
I just remember who got a lot of kills, and it was Corey and Shaiko. I'm a simple man.
Well, either way, the point that I was going to make is maybe they won't have such a far-forward defense, but actually when Leon gets positioned there from the get-go, I was going to say, well, I'm just wrong immediately. Maybe we'll be able to get some kills this time, though. Just the position. It's getting ready for them. But the big problem last time was the fact that Shaiko was able to push forward so much so quickly. There were the nades that came in that really forced a lot of those players back. Rips and the Maestro, whether it was Kajeka or Leon, both had that last time. They lost one of the Evil Eyes as a result as well.
The more I think about it, the more I'm understanding why they're bringing the Maverick here. They want some frag grenades to make use of, but don't want to bring the Sledge, because they want to bring this other lineup that we're seeing coming out of them that includes the Nomad and the IQ. And normally you don't get that much variety in what you can choose to bring along, but because they're trying to sacrifice things out and saying, you know what, Maverick works just fine for us, that's why it does kind of work. I still stand by the earlier point that I've made now, where teams like G2 were getting this wall open inside 30 seconds. 2 minutes later, they're only just starting to get the wall open on the Maverick and only just starting to look for an execute. And you know what? Maybe you don't need loads of time. Maybe you only need the final 20 seconds to go for an execute inside of this site. I'm just not 100% sure by it. And the grenades are never really connecting onto the right people either, so I don't know. It's one of the things I'll stay skeptical of BDS. I apologize.
It's really not something you can necessarily rely on. Now, I was actually going to point this out. Well, Leon's going down. First kill once again, but I was going to mention Corey going on this wide roam here. Now, obviously, one of the things we saw do very well last time was the fact he had the vertical control. So as BDS made that push in, he was able to stunt it quite a bit. Now, you expect BDS to potentially be expecting something like that once again, and actually seeing LMs watch out for yellow stairs here, because bearing in mind that Aces is pushing down there as well. But the point is, having that vertical control could be incredibly valuable for BDS, and Corey is showing straight away that that looks like what it's going to be. Oh god, a Claymore kill, but 2 kills for Kajeka, so he's going to be stunting off. Can he make it a third? Not quite just yet, but the diffuser has been dropped.
Falco getting from behind here and find one for himself. So it is a 2 versus 2. Not able to get there in time, though. I'm pretty sure this is done and dusted. They go for the sprays, lay down. It's into a 1 versus 1. Not going to be enough time, I don't feel, to close things out. Rogue will be very, very thankful of getting a second round in this half, given how poorly it started. But a round is a round. A win is a win. And it's yet even more padding towards that inevitable, or not quite inevitable, but potential, I should say, 7-round victory out of BDS, which would knock Rogue out of the competition.
And that was actually the only round where BDS didn't get a plant. The only one. It's just a
Crazy, isn't it?
It's a testament to how well they understood what they were doing. The coordination, what they wanted to achieve. I mean, because it's not just about objective play. You can turn around and say, oh, well, you know, they're just playing for the objective, bro. Because, like, if you compare it to how things are played in North America, which is very objective focused, it is still different. It is still more aggressive. The fact that they have these kind of peripheral swords spiking out from outside of them that can just slice and slaughter anyone who gets into their path definitely helps. There's a lot of gunning involved. It's not just about the objective. But the fact is everything is still based around utilizing that very swift aggression so that they can make that work for themselves. And it was just consistent. And that's something that Rogue haven't been.
Was that spikes and sword thing like the graceful frog thing again? I could hear you almost laughing to yourself as you were kind of making it up as you went along.
I will, because the thing is like, I had this idea of like these bodyguards that were just moving around with like spiky things. But then
spiky things.
I realized as I got to the bit where I had to decide what weapon they were holding, I couldn't decide, so I went with spikes and swords. They're gonna be lightsabers.
Look, your imagination is something else. I shan't question it any further, don't you worry.
I'll just say
apparently less so than mine with the whole bodyguards with spiky swords and things.
Alright, well, I'll take it.
We'll let it go. We'll let it go. So let's see how the downstairs fares. And already you're seeing that change I was talking about with BDS compared to Rogue, or really BDS compared to any other team. Keeping that sledge on side, instead sacrificing the Maverick and bringing along the Thermite in its place. So hopefully able to get the wall open much quicker, if not they haven't already. A big focus coming on the upstairs, it appears, looking instead towards getting the piano control they need. Foul second time today, unfortunately. A disconnect coming through. We'll see if they can hold on firm. Shaiko, earlier on, this wasn't a problem. He was like, yum, yum, more kills for me. And they still managed to close the round out. Probably a bit of a big ask here, given they've just changed size, mind you. And of course, it is a different map.
You never know. Still have faith in BDS, at least in this instance. I mean, I know you never want to lose a round for something that wasn't your fault, but it's not going to be the end of the world, even if that is the case. Brede narrowly missing out on that kill, and the C4 isn't going to land either, so that's going to force him to rotate as he doesn't want to be risking his life. Leon, all right, once again, falling down. It's really disappointing as well when he's playing on the Ashe and you really need him for the entry. And it's something that's been spoken about a lot in general recently, is Ashe is just not the sort of operator you can afford to lose so early anymore, given how her gadget really is required to get rid of a lot of the defender utility. Corey does get a kill onto Shaiko though, so that's a very, very high impact kill. I think it's fair to argue, but you know, they still have had a loss themselves.
That breaching round not being there for the Evil Eyes is probably the biggest thing. Normally, if you had a Zofia, fine, you can get away with it. When she's not here and you're relying on frags potentially coming out of the sledge, a little bit unreliable is probably the best way I can look at it. So I'd be very worried about Renshira's Evil Eyes here and the damage that they can cause. Normally paced around the garage area, looking to hold underneath the van to contest you as soon as you try and go for a plant. You can see one just at the bottom there at the white van. Thank you very much, medics. And even now, it's pew-pewing away. No one able to stop it or even destroy it very easily unless you can get Karjeka on top of it.
Well, it's not over yet for Rogue, although it is going to be over for Corey as Renshiro manages to boop him off of the map. Looking in through those Evil Eyes, which, as you so astutely mentioned, aren't really going to be punished now that the Ashe has been very much lost. He's going to do it.
I just want Karjeka to get that sledgehammer out and just slam it, do it.
He's just waiting.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Woo! They're going to try and find someone. They finds one. Oh, almost found one, but no, they were waiting already. Going to be an instant trade back, mind you, so we did get something from it, but it's not quite enough. Rip's going in for the plant, and there come a couple of kills for Rogue that they needed. Everything's down to the other side, and Aces going to swing things back massively. BDS probably kicking themselves a little bit because for so long there, it looked like they were the ones in control. Just couldn't do enough to close the round out.
I think the death onto Karjeka there took me by surprise just as much as it did him. But obviously, Aces there to clear things up at the end there. Now they are obviously going to be calling for a rehost. We need to bring Rafal back into the game. But yeah, unlike last time that disconnect happened, Rogue actually managed to take the round off of BDS.
Yeah, last time round wasn't so pretty, was it? So, hey, these things happen sometimes. We'll make sure we get back into it nice and rapid for you guys. With how the map's been shaping up, Rogue have looked okay so far in the half. I know we haven't really seen all that much of them so far, but I think it's looked okay in terms of the closing executes. We mentioned earlier on how we saw them play against Chaos, we saw them play against Tempera. It was a little bit scrappy in places. It wasn't really the ideal sort of performance you wanted to see coming out of them, especially coming up against a team like BDS who looked so comfortable on it. So, I don't know. I like what I'm seeing so far, and I hate to keep on harking back to it, but Leon constantly being the first death in these rounds is really hurting Rogue.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good because it's one of those things where it's like, if you're... You know, if you get killed off first, fine, it happens, someone has to be. But when it's consistently you, that's where it gets concerning. Because Leon, as good as a gunman as he is known to be, he isn't just an entry player who you just need him to get in and then fine, it doesn't matter so much. He plays actually a decent number of operators with a decent number of roles, a decent number of uses, and always having him go down first is not conducive to success, really, because the likelihood is he's going to have a job to do. Well, I mean, everyone does,
yeah.
but a job to do that has not had the opportunity to be done at that point.
We called out about the Evil Eyes, and that's the main reason why you have him for this site, is when you know there are Evil Eyes lurking, when you know that they're feeding information or preventing you going for a plant, they need to be removed ASAP, but when he's not available to do that, it can come back to bite you. Thankfully, they still managed to close the round out. I know from how Leon's been talking on Twitter, how he's been feeling about himself in general, a lot of his focus is going into shot calling and IGLing lately.
Which is fine.
Maybe that's working just fine for them. And you know what? Maybe a player being the entry player and the IGLing and shot caller is quite difficult. Maybe sometimes it's like, you know what? I'll die so I can do the shot calling. Big brain plays. That is obviously not how he thinks. If anyone thinks like that, oh my God, how are they in Pro League? Imagine.
I'm just having a look at, Rogue's performance on this map in EU League. So as I mentioned, there was that fated game that they played against Chaos. But if we go all the way back to Playday number 2, they actually played Team Empire on this map as well, which they won 7-4. And I was just having a look to see how their defenses and attacks lined up. Rogue took 4 attacking rounds and they took 2 defensive rounds. So despite the fact that we spoke about how Rogue had a really solid defense on Clubhouse earlier, Consulate looks like it's one of those maps where maybe they just feel more comfortable on the attack. And that gives me a bit more faith for this side of the half, because obviously they struggled a decent amount on the first half. And when there is so much to be lost here for Rogue, by losing this map, shaky ground. It's not a place that you want to be. So if we're going into the second half and we're thinking, actually, this might be the half that Rogue are better suited to anyway, the hope might still be there. We may get to go to Oregon. It makes me feel a little bit better for them.
I imagine BDS are probably quite thankful if it does end here, going into something like Oregon. They've lost it twice, won it once. Hasn't really been the best map, to be honest with you. Whereas you look at the other side for Rogue, I'd say it's been a bit more comfortable for them.
Yep.
3 games, 3 wins. What more can you really ask for? They're the kind of results that you really want to stick on the board. Referring back to Consulate for a second, though, looking at the attack and defensive win rates across across the map for them, BDS generally perform a little bit better, about 10% higher or so. You've got Rogue sat in the 55, 58 level sort of attack and defense. BDS, on the other hand, are about 66, 68%. So it's a very close game still, but you can see why BDS feel more comfortable coming to this map than maybe they would have going into Clubhouse, although that still turned out to be a win. Now it's just about delivering the end result, which of course would be the 2-0 and knocking Rogue out and sending them home.
Another repeat of site here, but it's not going to be a repeat of compositions on either side, in fact. And what I'm most intrigued by here is Leon's switch off of the Ash, which obviously didn't get any usage in the last round, and onto Twitch. I'm wondering if maybe that's gonna be used onto the Evil Eyes from Renshiro, because obviously when you, as you mentioned before, you don't have a Zephyr. If the Ash is going to go down, you don't really have anything that you can use to get rid of them. Using shock drones is kind of an alternative way of being able to do that, potentially.
I think it's the safe option, because this way Leon hasn't got to expose himself and die. Big brain play. It's almost like when you're saying to someone, look, clearly you are very capable of hurting yourself, so what we're going to do is put you on an operator where you can't hurt yourself anymore. Stay away, play on the shock drone, and kill the gadgets with these.
It's like
all
when
good.
you put like child locks on all the kitchen cabinets and you don't let him hold scissors and things like that.
Exactly.
Put it down, Leon.
It's giving him a safety blanket, okay?
Oh, man. Well, he's also giving him the F2 in his hand, so we know this man can gun when he has the chance to stay alive. So could be a really big thing for him. And there we go. Straight away, one of the Evil A is going to be taken down. Shock Drone does get lost after that's done, but it's okay. It's done its job, and now he's just got to go after the next one. And once this has been dealt with, assuming it does get dealt with, because they are going to be expecting this to come
waiting.
in. Yeah, he's ready and waiting.
He might win. He might win.
He's waiting.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win? It's a duel. Who's going to win? No. Oh, he got off it. Okay, fine. I was like, he was sat there with that open for so long, just like, right, as soon as it comes in here, I'm shooting it. It's gone. It's dead. Clearly not.
There we go. This is what we like to see, medics. You stay on... Right.
Evil Eye versus Shock Drone. Who cares about operators and guns and explosions?
It's like Robot Wars.
Just give us the gadgets.
It's just
Robot Wars.
It's like Robot Wars, which is...
Hypnodisc was legit.
Oh, I was like... Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember all their names.
Glorious days, glorious days. 2 kills for BDS. They're living their glory days now. That's Leon, buddy. We spoke about this. You have 2 drones to lose first. I didn't even see him using the second one and still managed to find himself picked off. Rips is down 2. I assume the wall got open. I won't lie. I was so obsessed with what was going on with the drone and the Evil Eye that I didn't even look. I didn't even look at what was happening to the wall. I'm 99% sure they opened it because there was a couple of ways in. Thank you very much, medics. It is indeed open. Thank you very much.
Nice and open, a nice route in, especially after Aces secures that next kill. I say next kill, it's actually the first kill for Rogue. But yeah, as soon as Aces secures that first kill for Rogue, and that's going to be a lens down, and you can see Rogue starting to collapse in towards the bathroom here. It's all been cleared out.
It has?
There's no one peeing. I was just...
You just say that.
I say, yeah, I said there's no one peeing. Well, because they were looking in the stalls. I was like, there's no one in there, mate. Move along. Well, the thing now that you have to worry about is you've got C4 in the hands of Brede that he's very ready to use. No more frag grenades in the hands of Karjeka either. So when you're looking at projectiles, BDS definitely have the advantage here. And now Rogue have got to inch in towards the site, knowing that that is the case, as well as moving in to a higher man count.
Ace is playing the late game spoiler here, potentially final 15 seconds. Oh, gets caught up by the goo mine though. They'll no doubt have heard that one and know what to do. It's so easy to swing, all too easy for BDS. They knew the split was coming in. They'll close things out in pretty convincing fashion. And although it's been a couple of rounds since they've tasted that sweet taste of victory, BDS will find it, putting themselves at 5-2.
The sweet nectar of success. It is a fountain from which Rogue wish to drink. And so far, they're not having much luck of getting there. It's BDS.
Just a chalice of defeat. Unlucky, I guess.
The chalice of defeat.
That's all it is.
God. All right, I don't know how many more metaphors we can come up with because... I don't know, it's reminding me of GCSE English.
I'm not going to engage in this conversation.
It is reminding me of GCSE
given the ones that have come out of your mouth today.
What's wrong with a periphery of spikes and and what was it?
What about
spikes and swords?
The graceful frog was the other one.
That was a good one. Graceful was a hyperbolic adjective, and frog is a jumping animal.
I'm fully aware of what a frog is. Thank you very much for explaining that detail to me.
Evidently you didn't get it at the time. I'm just saying.
Okay, let's not. Let's just not. No Amaru attempt being brought by Rogue, so although we've seen BDS, I wouldn't say so much popularize it, but they've adopted it across from the other side of Tempera. Not quite yet managed to spread its way across to the team of Rogue. And I think it's worth touching on BDS's banning history so far in the EUL. They've banned away that Wamai pretty much constantly, to the stage a lot of other teams are now starting to copy it, realizing that it makes it far less oppressive, that you don't need as many grenades to be blitzed into a single area of the map to clear out the ADSs as well as the magnets. It makes life a little bit easier for you as the attackers. BDS really hammered it home. Other teams have started following suit. I wonder if Tempera have then started the next chain of playing around with things like the Amaru on this map.
It is an interesting change. Well, I say an interesting change as if it's the same team who's doing it, but obviously it's an interesting difference in playstyle. Leon Gid's obviously back on the Ash, which was a bit risky before as he got taken down very early, so that's going to be a big goal of his. Stay alive, get to use your utility. Okay, straight away, there's a breach charge. That's going to be removing a castle barricade. Nice. Rafal's going to be hiding just behind it still, waiting to catch anyone out who may move in towards the site. But still, gunfire going off everywhere else, and that's going to be pushing Shaiko back from the yellow stairs.
Understandably, the big focus is on yellow stairs. Here, you either take admin or you put the focus on yellow stairs and use that as your staging ground to go for a plant normally through the windows into console. Trying to force him back is the #1 objective, or ideally, kill him out. You still got those 2 frag grenades on side. You've expended through a good chunk of your grenades, mind you. 8 of those flashbangs now gone. So now's about the time to start thinking about weaving them through. Aces doing well to keep the drone alive, but finally picked off inside a piano. A question that sticks in my mind is how much time they spend investing into getting through onto yellow stairs. You got 1 or 2 looking to set up now onto the windows. So these pieces of the executor starting to come together. I swear to God, we saw that. Did we see that castle wall broken open, the one on the double door? I'm well confused. It's still there, apparently. Heaven knows. Leon's still going to find 2 kills for himself. Or was it more in the middle where he got it?
No, it was that one. Maybe he kept one.
Maybe he saved one in the back pocket and reinforced it.
I mean, Rafal did hang around in that area. Freeday's going to be hanging around in the bathroom. Gets the kill onto Leon Gids, but can't quite secure the next one. We are getting confirmation that he did have one extra, but yeah. Disgusting that Ace is falling. This is a 2 versus 2. Bride is very, very low on health.
The thing is, Corey's got to commit to the plant here, so it's only Rips by himself if they choose to go for that, making it a very small, a very brief disadvantage for the attacking side, but a disadvantage nonetheless. And they've still got these cameras to play behind. They know what's going on, so now's the time to start shocking away. Going to go for it. Manages to bait it out as well. Oh my God, it's going to be a horrific dance. C4's ready below. Going to find it for free. Talk about a bait, my friend. He is living in that head rent-free. 2 versus 1. Rips entirely by himself. There's 1 downstairs. There's evil eyes everywhere. He's got to get the diffuser back. This is a lot of work to do inside 35 seconds. BDS will put themselves 1 round away from knocking out Europe's #1 team in Rogue. I can't believe it has come down to that on just the first day.
And how many times has Rips found himself in this similar situation? But obviously the Evil Eyes are still going to be there working against him. He's got to move out the way. Still failing to find Bride and Alems. And as you say, this is so close for BDS to be getting to match point. He's going to have a go at placing down the diffuser, but the members of BDS remaining do know where he is. They're going to be taking the shots, but he gets the plant in. There's the trade out. It's going to be very easy for them to, of course, do the disable. So close. And as you say, Derry, this puts us not only onto match point, but match point, and also the point that could send Rogue home.
Rips has got to be heartbroken. 3rd time today he's found himself in a 1vx, and always a single kill away from closing it out, but just not quite able to get over the finish line. Back on the last map, Gio, we said, imagine if those 2 1vxs had been won, those final kills had gone the way of Rips, that would have been a very different story. It would have been Rogue coming out as the map 1 victors. Here, they are a single round away from being sent home early. After what has been a prolific season, they accelerated into the second half. Everyone came into this saying, oh man, this is definitely Rogue's tournament. Rogue or G2 in the final. No one's 100% sure of which way it goes, but now, my God, has everyone's predictions, as included, been thrown into disarray.
Oh man, this is crazy. And I think even when we go back to the beginning of this game and we see what the viewer predictions were, what our predictions were, the way people have been talking about these teams leading up to the EU Major, the fact so many people have had so much faith in Rogue says everything you need to know about what we've seen from these players over time. Not just stage 1 of the EU League, but even looking back in the histories of their careers, despite some of the slightly muddying performances of Rogue in past events, people still believe they have it in them. They came first in stage 1.
5 seconds remaining.
The same for Pro League Season 11. Everyone thought they could show up, and still it's looking like they're struggling, and BDS are so close to stamping that into the ground and proving, yeah, they're struggling, and it's because of us.
I had Virtus Pro being down as the team that were going home at the start of this day. I thought they'd be the first ones knocked out. BDS would be second. It would be G2 versus Rogue Grand Final. What a flipperoo we are experiencing here. 2.5 minutes standing between BDS and victory, between Rogue and going home and spending the rest of this weekend, no doubt, watching the major when they could have been the ones playing in it. Let's see how this final site plays out. You got Corey creeping around the top floor, Lobby and Piano site, by the way, just looking to catch someone out. And I have a feeling Shaiko isn't 100% sure that someone's up here right now. Renshiro neither's being awfully casual about this. Could get themselves caught out if they're not careful. But for Corey, staying alive here is the big deal. Still got 2 edges in his back pocket. I'd like to see him get them down because you never know how useful they will be coming into the later stages of these rounds. And that seems to be the focus for now. Good call.
Yeah, there you go. Both of them now been put up. So at least that has been confirmed and laid down for them. And he can focus now on other things, knowing that that utility has been expended. Sending in the flashes here, wanting to get rid of anything like an ADS that may be lying around. Renshiro has taken some damage already. You mentioned earlier that he was playing very casually almost, not really looking too uncomfortable. And I can imagine a lot of the members of BDS are feeling confident, but you can't let it slip and you can't let that get to you. Some damage coming in. Rafal did have the smoke canister ready to throw, but decided otherwise for now. But that control is still being held there onto Bathroom.
It's a lot of clearance work. It's a lot of upstairs focus to kick things off, as you'd expect out of Road. The IQ on the top floor. Corey was hanging up here earlier on, as we saw. Now playing downstairs out towards Visa. Both starting to converge on the spiral staircase. Renshiro opening things up onto Rips. That's the thermite gun of all things. Not a pleasant situation to be in. Leon also finding himself collected. Renshiro, we mentioned him already earlier on. A massive map 1 earlier on in their last series. It's stepping up yet again here. Bride finds another, and no doubt the conviction they had is falling away from them. Aces, the man who's had a terrible game, a terrible day. It all slips away from them, and like that, BDS take it. Rogue go home, #1 in Europe, but absolutely the last place team here at the major. What an outcome.
That happened in the absolute blink of an eye, and I think it just is so representative of what this major has been here for Rogue. It was all in front of them. Everything could have been theirs. And in the blink of an eye, in the space of one day, they have lost it all. And they are the first team to be eliminated from the EU 2020 August Major. Absolutely great showing from BDS after a difficult game against